The 2024 Tasmanian and International Chapter Architecture Awards are proudly supported by the Australian Institute of Architects National Corporate Partners. Allspec, Bondorma Techno, BlueScope, Brickworks, Dulux, Builders Lysart, Modex, Architecture Media, Planned Cover, and Image Makers Association, as well as the chapter partners Access Solutions, Aldenmark, Bear Brother, Southern Lighting and Distribution, Tasmanian Heritage Council. For over 40 years, the Australian Institute of Architects has been a pillar for upholding the evolving excellence of our industry. Like the Institute, the passage of time is a testament to stability, yet is always in motion. With each passing year, our profession moves forward, shaping communities, pushing boundaries, and redefining the architectural landscape across Australia and abroad. Tonight, we capture this moment in time, celebrating the achievements and impact of our members, teams, and projects. Welcome to the 2024 Tasmanian and International Chapter Architecture Awards.
The SWT Blythe Student Prize. Rehabilitating Queenstown, Tas, Connecting People with Heritage and History by Chin Jun Ren. Global Studio, Barcelona and the Example District by Hamish Saul. Rivulet Social Housing, An Elemental Approach by James Jackson. Queenstown Dialect, A Respectful Dialogue with the Host Structure by James Jackson. Procession, Architecture of Dialectics at Flagstaff Gully Quarry by Jessie Ann Pang-Q. Architecture for the Dead by Jingjiang Chen. Ruin Potential by Luke Pendergast. Metanoia by Melissa Lau. Overlap City by Pei Kai Tan. Green Vertical Community, Hobart CBD Apartment by Rongzhao Wang. Extension to the Beaconsfield Cemetery, Offerings for Kairos by Steph Papastavro. And Speculative Housing Futures, The Wave Apartment by Zachary Tregenza. The SWT Blythe Student Prize. Hamish's project, Barcelona and the Example District, presents a set of considered interventions in the existing fabric of the Sudar residential block. The strong conceptual ideas translate convincingly from city to human scale, represented with clarity through a suite of evocative collages and concise diagrams. The work is underpinned by the synthesis of research findings into a clear set of strategies. These are clearly articulated and respond to historical, climatic and urban conditions through a sensitive tectonic approach to the interventions. The resolution of the mixed-use brief, woven into the existing fabric, demonstrates a strong engagement with ideas of spatial hierarchy, fine-grained concentration of activity and landscape connectivity. Alongside the elemental quality of the built interventions, the broader urban scale moves of unlocking courtyards and connecting public spaces overcomes the challenges of the existing housing typology and proposes a compelling speculative future. Supporting drawings, vignettes, and the conceptual model clearly communicate the project strategies with precision and playfulness. The approach to the project is both poetic and pragmatic, acknowledging the layers of history and recognising the latent potential for future development. The Imagine Project Award. Lisa and Matt's Place by Beckenham. Patrick Street by Andrew Campbell and Georgina Russell. Lenoma Street by Light Architecture. And the Friends School Redevelopment Project by Bence Mulcahy with H2O Architects. The Imagine Project Award. The Imagine Project Award is given to the Friends School Redevelopment Project as testament to the collective efforts of Imagine members in leadership, collaboration and architectural expertise. The initial partnership with H2O Architects provided Bence Mulcahy with the opportunity to contribute to the practice's first large-scale educational project. Further to this, project procurement following the development approval stage provided the young practice with an opportunity to independently take the project through to completion. Their collaborative approach led to a design outcome which seamlessly integrated this larger scale urban development within its historic surroundings. This was evident in the Revel Centre Heritage Streetscape Studies, which demonstrated the team's dedication to thoughtful intervention given the sensitive context. Their use of subtle design gestures exemplified their commitment to architectural excellence. The project was led and staffed by a team of emerging architects, including the practice director, whose guidance inspired a cultural collaboration of innovation, ensuring the delivery of architectural excellence. The team's proficiency in collaboration and client engagement were pivotal in shaping the project's trajectory and navigated the intricate demands of the heritage site. Meticulous documentation, attention to public realm features, and adept handling of contractual issues further enriched the project's quality. The project's success is a testament to the team's ingenuity and collaborative spirit, setting a standard for emerging architects in the industry. Emerging Architect Prize. Over the course of his career, Keith Westbrook has demonstrated relentless dedication to the profession through outstanding contributions to architectural design, practice culture, community outreach, and architectural leadership within Tasmania and across Australia. Graduating with first-class honours from UTAS, Keith went on to work and flourish in leading Australian architectural practices in Tasmania and Victoria, which led him to his current role as a director at Cumulus, which he now leads from Tasmania. Keith has contributed to a wide range of leading projects across Tasmania and interstate, including the recently completed Goulburn Street housing in Hobart and in his role as principal architect for Protagonist at the Arts Centre Melbourne. Keith was also instrumental in establishing Cumulus's national presence, whilst also delivering the Protagonist project. We found this both a demonstration of Keith's leadership by example and the calibre and relevance of Tasmanian architectural practice to a broader national audience. Keith exemplifies an unyielding commitment and passion to architecture at all stages of his career, from his role as caretaker of the Dorney House at Fort Nelson to volunteering with Open House Hobart, to participating and co-chairing both Darkside, the UTAS architectural student organisation and Imagine representative bodies, to then being elected to the Victorian Chapter Council. During this time, Keith has been dedicated in his participation and generous with his contributions. Keith is a leading voice and practitioner of Tasmanian architecture and a worthy recipient of the 2024 Tasmanian Emerging Architect Prize.
Colorbond, made by Australia.
Colorbond Award for Steel Architecture. Wattlebird House by Scott Flett Architecture Workshop. And Sweet Shed by Also Can. The Colorbond Award for Steel Architecture The Wattlebird House is a jewellery box of architectural ideas. A home carefully crafted for the varied needs of an extended family, it has been skillfully oriented on a difficult corner site to maximise the potential of existing and restored landscapes and captured views and sunlight. The architects have demonstrated considerable skill in resolving this construction, including the use of bespoke structural systems, custom glazing suite fabrication, and a roofing system that capitalises on the inherent qualities of BlueScope Colorbond steel products. The jury was impressed by the attention paid to the environmental sustainability of the project. This has extended across the design from the selection of materials and construction systems to thermal performance and building services. At a component level, the architects have expanded their scope by prototyping, testing and implementing a unique 3D digitally printed roof capping detail. This custom element has facilitated simple and cost-effective forming of challenging junctions between roofing sheets and different pitches.
In the quest to design enduring yet functional buildings and spaces, navigating your material choices can be daunting. That's where Lysart excels, a business committed to simplifying the process and inspiring your creativity. Our expertise can streamline your path from concept to completion, ensuring your designs stand the test of time. Let us be your partner in building better.
Commercial architecture. Lexus of Tasmania and Omitanashi by BYA with Core Collective Architects. The Colin Philp Award for Commercial Architecture. The sole commercial tenancy of the Rocks Apartments project, Lexus of Tasmania and Omitanashi, is an exemplary demonstration of optimised customer experience, memorable interior character, and enhanced commercial outcomes within a defined and constrained footprint. The highly innovative melding of a luxury Japanese car showroom with a limited seating, Japanese-inspired dining experience is a conceptual masterstroke that has been skillfully brought to life via the interior design approach. Technology and tradition are intertwined, with hybrid and electric vehicles counterpointed by crafted Tasmanian oak reveals to openings and battened wall linings, and softly variated curtains wrapping the central core in a single organic gesture. The largely windowless section of the tenancy beyond the protruding residential core is deftly integrated into the customer experience. A sense of procedural ritual is created from the predominantly glazed showroom to the intimate setting of the Omitanashi 12-seat dining table. Lighting expands the sensory experience, highlights the products on display, and presents a warm glow to the exterior, inviting in customers, visitors, and passers-by. Lexus of Tasmania and Omitanashi is an outstanding addition to the commercial landscape of the city of Hobart. Commercial architecture. The Embassy of Australia, Washington DC by Bates Smart. And Je ne sais quoi Villas by EMKC3. Award for Commercial Architecture. The new Australian Embassy in Washington sits confidently on its site in Massachusetts Avenue, an exemplar of refined and innovative commercial architecture that offers up to Washington subtle colours of the Australian landscape. The variegated staccato of the bespoke copper cladding fins catches the light in different hues throughout the day, while the glazed facade between the fins emerges translucent into the evening twilight. Shadow lines, recesses and rhythm are deployed to refine subtle massing elements and reference to fault lines of a rocky outcrop. The built form maximises the permissible building envelope. It allows for a Tarkine-inspired sunken garden at the southwest corner, whose soft landscaping will connect spatially to the main entry drop-off at ground level above. The generosity of the central light-filled atrium is remarkable, cloaked in deep honeyed blonde horizontal layers of vertically stacked native timber veneers and screens. Security and circulation routes are rigorously streamlined, yet with a clever shifting of the core at upper level, staff from different siloed departments are brought back together into a vertically oriented social space, which borrows light from the soaring atrium. Meanwhile, Australian artists are quietly championed, with striking commissions for bespoke furniture, art and textiles, organised through a collaboration with the DIA. Educational architecture. The Freer Farm Agricultural Centre of Excellence by Philip Lighton Architects. The Cottage School by Taylor and Hines Architects. The Hutchins School Pre-Kinder by Rose Veer Stevenson. The Friends School Redevelopment Project by Bence Mulcahy with H2O Architects. The Workshop and Levy Studios by X2 Architects with BVN. St Virgil's College, new Year 11 and 12 facilities by Tim Penny Architecture and Interiors. Larapi Child and Family Learning Centre by Jaws Architects. And River's Edge Building, University of Tasmania by Wardle. Commendation for Educational Architecture. The Friends School redevelopment is commended for its successful interventions within a complex and previously ad hoc school precinct. The new works have renewed the old space and found opportunities for adaptation, while bringing a rich materiality and attention to finer detail to daily lives of the occupants. At a civic scale, the project sensitively knits into the urban fabric of its residential neighbourhood, along with the heritage and other significant architectural elements of the site. The project activates the street edge through attention to detail, character and user experience. Award for Educational Architecture. At the entrance to the Hutchins School Pre-Kinder, a netted ceiling stretched overhead announces the primary intervention in the existing building envelope. This achieves a shift in scale, purpose and interaction, focused as it is on the students experiencing the first day of their education. The intervention is the reconstruction of a poor-performing linear skylight into a raised roof lantern with enhanced solar shading and opportunity for natural ventilation. The shift in available volume is embraced and integrated into a series of child-friendly spaces that support exploration, social interaction and refuge. The new roof lantern affords a double-height configuration of functional and cavernous spaces below and an engaging play space above. Portal windows through to the adjacent gymnasium in the school provide a glimpse into the students' future education. The existing space is skillfully repurposed and reimagined with a warm, welcoming and robust material palette. The main education space is articulated by floor finishes and joinery that subtly address their role of arrival, play, water play, gathering and quiet time. The retained ceiling and sliding door system, with upgraded glazing, highlight the considered use of budget and sensitive integration of the new insertions. A clear and engaging water story is revealed to the students with the visible collection of roof water, storage and pumping to the central water table. The playful use of natural light and colour further enhance the experience of the delightful Hutchins School Pre-Kinder. Award for Educational Architecture. The Cottage School is a small, independent primary school providing a curriculum focused on the holistic development of young people. The jury was impressed by the way in which the architects embraced their client's ethos and their skill in translating this into an informed and purposeful solution. The architects and school collaborated to produce a master plan and order of priorities that intelligently developed opportunities latent in the scale of the existing buildings and setting. At its core, the project demonstrates the capacity of well-crafted environments to foster student engagement and nurture learning. Outdoor classrooms and play areas and a new veranda transitioning between indoor and outdoor spaces inspire, delight and encourage imaginative play. The role of the natural environment in stimulating the senses has been skillfully incorporated in partnership with the landscape architect. The versatile, new and repurposed internal spaces have been orchestrated with an understanding of scale, detail, acoustics and colour to create an exceptional teaching and learning environment. Award for Educational Architecture. Nestled amongst local schools and large gum trees, Larapi Child and Family Learning Centre welcomes the Wynyard community. The centre uses known, familiar and homely architecture to invite and comfort those using the building and its services. A curved canopy stretches out to signal the point of entry and usher the community in through a foyer into the facility's shared kitchen area, the heart of any home. From here, a series of spaces feel self-contained despite being part of one larger space, a mechanism the architects have used to allow the centre's staff to maintain gentle connections. A series of smaller, separated spaces flank the main area. These spaces are tactfully obscured as they contain more private enclaves, including consultation rooms, offices, amenities and services. The architect's approach to the interiors of the project is a highlight, with a joyful colour palette and a thoughtfully curated selection of materials that is both playful and calming. Visual connection to the external environment is constant. Raised ceilings lift towards views of the adjacent treetops, low-positioned windows frame nearby pastures, and a continuous, gutterless canopy celebrates the drama of rain. All provide moments of intrigue and delight to the building's occupants. The centre's community-focused contributions extend beyond the building form to the landscape and include integrated seats within the fence to convert impromptu car park conversations into longer social engagements, fostering deeper connections and community. The Sydney Blythe Award for Educational Architecture. The River's Edge building is a dramatic addition to the University of Tasmania's Inveresk precinct, creating a respectful and impactful space for students, staff and community amongst the dynamic landscape. Positioned adjacent to the Tamar River, the building's strength is grounded in its contextual sensitivity, capacity to maximise daylight and its ability to complement surrounding heritage structures while providing state-of-the-art teaching and learning spaces. The building's resounding success, though, is the way it thoughtfully incorporates and foregrounds the Raiwana Centre and Cultural Garden, providing a blueprint for best practice. River's Edge combines contemporary features, while at the same time referencing and reinterpreting the historic sawtooth vernacular of the site's industrial past. The materiality of the building is warm. It embraces the outside environment, and its verticality both encourages movement throughout as well as provides flights for the imagination as the gaze is lifted upwards. Small Project Architecture. Terroir Hobart Office by Terroir. And Unshackled, a Convict Memorial by Circa Morris Nan Chua Architects. Award for Small Project Architecture. Unshackled unlocks the stories of Tasmania's convict history and invites viewers into an immersive experience within the confines of the eerie 1860 Courtroom 2 at the Hobart Penitentiary. This is a project which demonstrates in a visceral way the power of technology when combined in an intelligent way with the built environment. The digital panels and projections are simple yet highly effective in creating a deeply engaging environment. The addition of small design gestures, such as strip lighting under furniture, accentuates existing components of the courtroom, creating additional drama and intrigue. This small project opens a door to new interpretations of Tasmania's past and holds the attention of users in its interactive functionality. Most importantly, in the context of these awards, it will bring new and welcome attention to some of Tasmania's most significant historic periods. The Peter Wilmot Award for Small Project Architecture. The architects have shown both great courage and remarkable restraint in the fit-out of their own offices in a leased council-owned heritage building adjacent to Mawson's Place in Hobart. What may have easily been a somewhat unforgiving outcome, after stripping out walls and doors, in fact, presents as a playful, imaginative and heartening space destined to inspire creativity. Within a monochromatic and natural timber palette, The architects have shown inventiveness in introducing light, resolving structural and water ingress issues, and creating an engaging aesthetic that arouses curiosity and stimulates conversation. A clear set of protocols have been developed and applied that emphasise the layering effects and narrative of uses over time, while achieving a high degree of intended functionality, while other features may have arisen purely by allowing chance to play a role in the outcome. The architects have deliberately created a space that is able to significantly advance thinking and dialogues around sustainability. In this project, they clearly define the current priorities of their practice and walk the talk in a very pragmatic way. With only a month-by-month rental agreement, we hope there are many opportunities for their future clients to witness the challenging and inventive approach demonstrated by this excellent project. Small project architecture. Plastic Pavilion by Terroir. Commendation for small project architecture. A poetic provocation that engages and extends the temporary pavilion typology, the plastic pavilion sits lightly and elegantly in this historic fishing boat harbour in Copenhagen. Providing both an eloquent public exhibition space and a provocative dialogue about the sustainability of architecture and recycling of ubiquitous plastics, its curvy 3D printed feet, scattered frames and floating roof elements disperse around the heritage square and statue, contrasting with the cobblestones and curvy bronze flesh, and challenging current paradigms of sustainability with a multi-layered narrative. Public architecture. Acticity Centre for Dance and Movement-Based Arts by Gall & Associates. Kimber Market Redevelopment by Pawa Architecture. And the Embassy of Australia, Washington DC by Bates Smart. Commendation for Public Architecture. A design process founded upon careful analysis of the needs of the community has delivered a simple and elegant building that is clearly having a hugely positive impact on the lives of its many users. Improving safety for the mostly female market traders was a key objective. This informed the creation of a separated entrance zone for vendors, provision of on-site banking, and an open and permeable plan that promotes passive surveillance. The market is naturally breezy, beneath a lofty steel roof that echoes the form of the existing buildings and creates a welcoming civic presence. Award for Public Architecture. Vasprem's new dance centre has been skillfully integrated into its surrounding context as a vibrant new cultural hub between the new urban piazza facing the city and university and a softer park-like landscape. The architects took an uninspiring collection of buildings and addressed a complicated brief with rigorous aplomb. They confidently addressed many challenging issues, including urban design and connectivity, the creation of new public space, as well as heritage, restoration, and sustainability. At the centre of the project is the immaculately restored former Children's Hospital. Other, more functional structures from Hungary's post-war era have been preserved and cleverly transformed, retaining the embodied carbon within whilst being cohesively incorporated and connected to each other. With a refined plan and section and a controlled palette of materials, a well-considered community facility and series of internal and external spaces has been achieved. The articulated modernist aesthetic of the curtain walling, together with a cleverly expressed structure, is a bold but successful counterpoint to the restored heritage buildings. This new amenity has successfully revitalised a derelict but important brownfield site, carefully knitting it back into the city fabric. This is a fine example of placemaking and urban healing. The Louise Cox Award for Public Architecture. The design of the new embassy bravely eschews monumentality and excessive deference to its eminent Washington DC surroundings to paint a compelling picture of Australia as a vibrant, inviting and youthful country. This picture is realised with remarkable consistency at every scale, from urban form to crafted interior detail, and it is testament to the commitment of both client and architect in delivering on the promise of the original competition-winning scheme. The building plan skillfully responds to the inherent paradox of the embassy brief, which called for a place that was at once highly secure, whilst also open and welcoming. A sequence of connected representational spaces are flooded with light from the central atrium, creating a sense of transparency across the ground plane that is not encumbered by the usual security infrastructure, thanks to careful orchestration of visitor and staff circulation. References to the Australian landscape are unmistakable, from the gleaming copper and glass facade recalling expansive skies and red earth, to the layered interior panelling echoing the peeling bark of a eucalypt forest. Works by Australian artists and makers are well chosen and bring a depth of colour, detail and texture with a strong sense of belonging to the building.
Aesthetic, ergonomic, flexible, durable, supporting the finest design. The Modec system of modular handrails is guaranteed to be fit-for-purpose compliant, time after time after time.
Worth doing, worth Dulux.
When you enter the house, you can see the backyard and you can read the original structure of the cottage in the new work. I think the thing that I'm most proud of is the way the materials sit together. It feels and looks the same as it did when we handed the keys over to Harriet 3 years ago. And I think it really has not only suited Harriet, but elevated her quality of life. And that is something that I'm really proud of.
Residential architecture houses new. James Street by Taylor and Hines Architects. The Wee Ponder Home by Align Architecture and Interiors with Saxon Hall Architecture. Wattlebird House by Scott Flett Architecture Workshop. Literalis Midway Point by Lee Woolley Architect. Skellig House by Crump Architects. And Taruna House by Archer. Commendation for Residential Architecture. This striking house sits peacefully in the embrace of its wooded native Tasmanian landscape setting, capturing filtered sunlight and views to the River Derwent. This project is commended for its focus on technology and commitment to innovation. The architect's decision to combine the house's primary structural and glazing systems sets the strategic tone, which has been furthered by the embrace of intelligent, technology-driven prefabrication methods. It is an inspired example of our industry's ability to push conventional boundaries and refine processes, while delivering exceptional quality. Award for Residential Architecture, Houses New. Skellig House demonstrates how an overwhelming array of constraints can be harnessed to generate a responsive and unanticipated architectural solution. Engaging with a site that has been vacant for some time due to its complexity, the architects have shown dexterity, skill, and resilient determination in crafting their solution. The house provides a tailored suite of experiences, curated around moments of delight and surprise, curiosity and discovery. Within its crowded urban street, the house presents a discreet and modest entry and carport. From there, an orchestrated sequence of spaces lead through a darkly clad open courtyard, offering a brief reconnection to the sky, the first of numerous moments where the architecture denies, then playfully reconnects with the external and other concealed internal environments. Once through the entry, the interior focuses towards a downward internal view, through living spaces and then beyond to an extensive framed view, cinematically capturing tree canopies rising against the sparkling blue backdrop of the river below. Leaning on an already established architect-builder relationship and adding other key contributors, including an interior designer, the architects have delivered a crafted and experiential home that has exceeded the client's desires and expectations. The Esmond Dorney Award for Residential Architecture houses new. In response to a piece of music, the James Street residence is centred on the notion of a house as a stage with an intimate audience. This can be felt in the way the new architecture dances around an existing walnut tree. Conceived as a brick villa, the new residence responds poetically to its context as a sculptural volume at the fringe of the Launceston Civic Centre, a city known for its rich brick heritage. The courtyard typology maximises the site and affords a series of outdoor rooms that punctuate both the daily rituals and visitor experience of the home, creating moments of connection with the streetscape, sky, and small but intense garden. Upon arrival, the building feels grounded by a brick base within its context. As you ascend the building, space and light expand. Once inside, the internal volumes compress and release, fold and unfold, creating intrigue within the compound urban footprint and simultaneously providing its inhabitants with both privacy and connection to the city. The dynamic interior spaces are more than they first seem, bursting with multi-purpose functionality in theatrical ways. This is an optimistic home, and it illustrates how a small civic body can enhance the experience of a city while also providing a place of contemplation, memory collecting, and euphoria for its owners and guests. Residential architecture houses new. Langhus by RAA Architects Pty Ltd. Commendation for Residential Architecture houses new. Conceived as an elegant steel-wrapped meditation on the Swedish vernacular, this rigorously detailed summer house on the Swedish west coast responds to themes of memory, landscape, and connection to place. Conforming to a strict set of criteria aimed at protecting the ecologically sensitive wetlands and nearby fjord, the facade, compact formal geometries and materiality sit in harmony with the woodland setting, weaving a narrative of a childhood growing up nearby with a nuanced understanding of designing for the seasons.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the old way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you, so there for you too.
Residential architecture houses alterations and additions. Lisa and Matt's Place by Beck and Haim. Patrick Street by Andrew Campbell and Georgina Russell. Lenoma Street by Light Architecture. Pedder Street House by Bence Mulcahy. Regent Street Extension by Preston Lane. Finlay Street by Christopher Clinton Architect. And Sweet Shed by Also Can. Commendation for Residential Architecture houses alterations and additions. In this project, the architects have leveraged the latent heritage qualities of an existing house through the removal of non-original, unencumbering accretions and have celebrated its authentic values through thoughtful, small, reversible interventions. They have cleverly achieved more with less, unlocking the building's potential without expanding its footprint, while extending its functionality into carefully configured landscapes. They are to be commended for the finely crafted and sustainable manner in which this has been achieved. Commendation for Residential Architecture houses alterations and additions. Regent Street breathes new life into a characterful home on a gently sloping block in Sandy Bay. The restrained restoration of the existing house, repairing and highlighting its original features, provides the cues for the new extension. Through a series of disciplined moves, the architects have created spaces perfectly suited to the client's needs while taking advantages of the site's features. Great skill has been shown by the architects in crafting a welcoming family home full of delight and overcoming the additional complexity with the client residing overseas during the design phase. Award for Residential Architecture, Houses, Alterations and Additions. This diminutive building stands jewel-like in the streetscape. Once dominated by the historic house of which it was previously a part, it now quietly commands its own place. Framed by a tiered landscape and a flourishing green roof, a new blackened addition is thoughtfully designed to fall back from the original stables, while contrasting natural timber apertures warmly draw you inside. The architects and builder have employed great skill and craftsmanship in the manner of a furniture maker or boat builder in their attention to the small details that the residents or visitors might grasp and touch. On a low-lying and inclining block, this modest yet engaging new addition and restoration inventively incorporates elements that maximise opportunities for sunlight penetration and connection to the landscape, as well as providing a respectful nod and ongoing relationship to the neighbouring house and broader heritage precinct. The Edith Emery Award for Residential Architecture, Houses, Alterations and Additions. Pedder Street House comprises the significant transformation of a traditional bungalow on the high side of a North Hobart residential street. The spatially modest additions extend in an origami-like shaping of the envelope, framing external garden areas and accommodating interior spaces of light and prospect. The resultant architectural richness belies the limited budget and conceptually simple extrusion of the existing roof form. The plan evolves from an offset entry foyer in the existing house. Movement through the short existing central corridor reveals a sequence of spaces that start to shift in level in response to the opportunities that the site and envelope present. A generous point of arrival between the dining room under the existing roof and the new kitchen creates an informal place of gathering and redirection. With stepped edges, pausing or sitting here is natural yet unexpected. The folding of floor levels and volume continues through the kitchen to the living space that expands vertically to the full height of the new roofline. Nestled into this section, a master bedroom suite is presented as a pale-toned and more dimly lit refuge from the daily life that operates below. Pedder Street expertly connects interior spaces to a multi-levelled garden and overlaps and intersects internal spaces with a level of spatial confidence that is exemplary.
For over 50 years, Fairbrother has been a symbol of excellence in the Australian construction industry. With operations throughout Tasmania and Victoria, our award-winning project history stands testament to our commitment to quality, innovation and excellence. But what truly sets us apart is our culture. At Fairbrother, we place our people above everything else. With a strong culture built around incredible people, it means we can deliver iconic projects. Fairbrother. Incredible people, iconic projects.
Residential Architecture, Multiple Housing. The Rocks Apartments by Core Collective Architects. Murdolo Apartments by Rosevere Stevenson. Youth 2 Independence Y2I Campbell Street by Liminal Architecture. Tynehouse Extension Project by X Squared Architects with Robert Carroll and Associates. And New Bethlehem House by Tim Penny Architecture and Interiors. Commendation for Residential Architecture, Multiple Housing. The Rocks is a successful city-making project in central Hobart that integrates its heritage neighbours and urban context and delivers a range of apartment types for city living with high amenity. The new apartment building softly curves and tapers to the corner and then steps back, forming north-facing terraces that enjoy outlooks to Roxburgh House and the Memorial Independent Church. Establishing a new model for apartment living in the city of Hobart, the Rocks Apartments achieves a high-quality response to an inspired client brief. The Ray Heffernan Award for Residential Architecture, Multiple Housing. The Youth 2 Independence Campbell Street project, Y2I, reimagines social housing for young adults. At its core, it provides accommodation for youths, as well as community hub support, social activities, and lifelong learning opportunities. This is an exemplar demonstration of a progressive approach to affordable housing models. Rising 5 stories above a concrete podium covering 2 levels of car parking, Y2Y reclaims undervalued urban space and transforms it into a vital and activated contribution to the city. The vibrant mesh screening of the building's facade operates as a city marker within the urban context, as well as a device to frame views to the rich urban fabric or kunanyi beyond. Through a sensitive and empathetic approach, the architects have created moments of joy and generosity. Rigorous design thinking at both urban and human scale likewise delivers spatial outcomes, such as rooftop social areas, edible gardens, and an elevated 3-point basketball court encourage enjoyment, fitness, and cohesion. In this way, Y2I fosters a sense of belonging and empowers residents to form sustainable independence and to build their own better futures.
We all have a story, a life, a voice beyond the bricks and mortar. Over time, we are reimagined, repurposed, reinvigorated. To you who embrace the past and explore the future, thank you for reimagining Tasmania's historic heritage places.
Heritage architecture. The Rocks Apartments by Core Collective Architects. Murdolo Apartments by Rosevere Stevenson. Finlay Street by Christopher Clinton Architect. The Peacock Centre by X² Architects. Bond Street and Watergate Wall, TMAG by Purcell Architecture. And Corunna by Spark Architecture. Commendation for Heritage. Whilst the architects faced enormous challenges during the refurbishment of the Peacock Centre, not least repeated arson attacks, they have shown a commendable commitment and skill in addressing the heritage values of the 100-plus-year-old building. The jury noted the attention to detail in the replacement of the internal features, such as the solid timber staircase and the LED lights throughout, and was most impressed by the rebuild of the historically significant yet severely dilapidated on-site greenhouse. The latter adds a layer of delight and functionality for the users of the Peacock Centre, an important heritage asset for the state. Commendation for Heritage. The Rocks Apartments is commended for its positive contribution to placemaking within an intense heritage pocket of Hobart's urban fabric. On a broader scale, the new apartment building brings much-needed housing to the city, whilst the built form allows sightlines through to the existing and significant heritage buildings on the site, the previously covered 1880s Scotch College and the 1870s Roxburgh House. The exterior materiality selection is responsive to the heritage fabric of the city, providing a contemporary complement to the sandstone, brick and lime render of the building's context. Award for Heritage. Through heritage conservation and adaptive reuse, the Murdolo project has restored new life and purpose to a significant collection of Victorian Georgian residential buildings. The architects have worked strategically with the owner in expanding the project's scope and developing appropriate solutions to support a sustainable economic model for the project. Through this, they have ensured project viability, broadened the potential for critical heritage conservation, and enabled the re-establishment of the building as a significant presence in its historical streetscape. Restoration of heritage fabric has been undertaken with best practice conservation methods, including careful application of policies developed through a detailed conservation management plan. Conservation works have included structural and site hydrology rectification, stone facade restoration, and the renewal of finer detail. In this, they have revealed layers of previously concealed historic occupation, use, and adaptation. The architects have demonstrated exceptional skill and judgment in reconciling the competing and contradictory demands of authentic conservation and the strict requirements of contemporary use and code compliance. This has been handled with dexterity and care and has resulted in an elegance of detail and an undeniable harmony between old and new. Award for Heritage. This outbuilding once belonged to the property adjacent, a grand double-storey red brick residence in the Queen Anne style, positioned commandingly on the hill. Through small sensitive moves by the architects, Finlay Street has been restored so that the layers accumulated over years are removed and only softly touched to show their original texture and provide ongoing protection. A highlight of the project is in the respectful way the vista to the neighbouring property has been preserved. This historic connection is retold through window portals that maximise light in this low position and provide privacy for the residents. Interior architecture. Arch South by Rosevere Stevenson. St Luke's Health Flagship Store by Terroir. And Levada by Studio Ilk. The Alexander North Award for Interior Architecture. The Arch South project affords a powerful example of the potential for architecture to transcend client and user expectations and add meaningful value to the experience of our community's most vulnerable people. Arch South is the first example of a multidisciplinary design response to sexual harm in Tasmania, a heavy brief that has been lifted and resolved through a trauma-informed approach to a sensitive and intelligent design outcome. The strength of the interior strategy lies in its secure and non-threatening environment, while still achieving the clinically functional requirements of a police station. This is a fine and difficult balance to strike, and it has been skillfully achieved here. The positive outcomes garnered by this approach by both victim survivors and offenders alike have been noted and applauded by the police. This project balances a complex brief of circulation, security, and sensitive needs in a sophisticated and seamless outcome. The empathy and attention to detail is an approach that has now been adopted by police departments at a national level and is being adapted for a diverse range of spaces nationwide. Interior architecture. Lu Style Shanghai by Shin Architects with Atelier W. And The Embassy of Australia, Washington DC by Bates Smart. Award for Interior Architecture. The Embassy interior successfully promotes openness and transparency, whilst also skillfully addressing the pragmatic issues of security and restricted access required of buildings of this nature. The central circulation spine or street, as an extension of the city, allows visitors and occupants to comprehend and navigate the building in multiple dimensions, from the ground plane and horizontal connections with the city to the dramatic and jewel-like atrium at the heart of the building, which connects earth and sky. The architects have abstracted the Australian landscape in the use of textures and striated native timbers, complementing the architectural language of the exterior. This sophisticated layering and activation of space creates an interior filled with warmth and facilitates a changing play of light and shadow throughout the building. The interiors demonstrate a timeless and elegant use of Australian materials and a refined and restrained palette. There is a sophisticated level of craftsmanship and detailing here, including the well-considered use of Australian furniture and Indigenous design in art and rugs that highlight Australian creative excellence. Australia's new embassy is both functional and delightful. Its expansive and generous light-filled interiors are unashamedly grand, but also warm and intimate, showcasing Australia as its modern, vibrant and welcoming best. Sustainable architecture. Lisa and Matt's Place by Beckenham. The Wee Ponder Home by Align Architecture and Interiors with Saxon Hall Architecture. Wattlebird House by Scott Flett Architecture Workshop. The Friends School Redevelopment Project by Bence Mulcahy with H2O Architects. Sweet Shed by Also Can. The Workshop and Levy Studios by X2 Architects with BVN. Taruna House by Archer. Terroir Hobart Office by Terroir. And River's Edge Building, University of Tasmania by Wardle. Award for Sustainable Architecture. River's Edge is the most recent addition to the evolving UTAS Inverness campus in central Launceston. The building confidently advances the university's campus consolidation and sustainability vision through the accomplished handling of building panelling, envelope efficiency, material embodied energy, and operational demand. Sited on the River's Edge within the university's Inveresk rail yard precinct, the building occupies a former car park. Remediation of contaminated soils and establishment of a native landscape perimeter contribute to the broader ecological repair of the former industrial precinct. The triangular plan of the new building with a top-light central atrium minimises the external envelope and provides a generosity of natural light and volume to the internal functions. The project balances an economy of building fabric with a high level of user amenity and comfort. River's Edge is fully electric with embodied carbon and operational carbon analysis, air tightness, thermal bridging, window-to-wall ratio and life cycle assessment informing the arrangement of the architecture, the selection of materials and systems, and the integration of building services. The successful application of mass timber in the upper level of the hybrid structure and the use of locally sourced and pre-finished materials are commendable. River's Edge is an outstanding demonstration of the university's and the architect's commitment to embedding sustainability in projects for the developing Inveresk campus. Award for Sustainable Architecture. In an uncompromising experiment conducted by the architects on the fit-out of their own offices, this project exemplifies doing more with less. The project challenges the paradox of sustainable architecture by choosing to build virtually nothing new. Instead, they have undertaken to pull back the layers of an unimproved 1960s office interior located within an 1850s heritage-listed building. In doing so, they have created a revitalised interior bathed in natural light, full of texture, which celebrates the perfectly imperfect history of the building. Each adaptation or uncovering expresses a particular understanding of the building, while in concert, testing the potential of what may constitute a contemporary workplace. The outcome is an intelligent and engaging environment. More than a simple talking point, their approach could be viewed as a manifest demonstration to their clients and others of ethical position in architectural practice. The project should be considered as a reference point for adaptive reuse and sustainable thinking. The outcome reminds us again of our industry's potential to facilitate negative environmental impact. To this end, it provides a uniquely robust, regenerative, and optimistic alternative position. Award for Enduring Architecture. The Long Beach Bathing Pavilion by Hartley Wilson and Bolt Architects is a testament to enduring architectural excellence. A remarkably intact example of mid-20th century architecture, it has long withstood and aided public use and enjoyment of the Sandy Bay foreshore. The building is small and unassuming, sitting effortlessly within its context. Closer observation reveals admirable architectural rigour and skill. Its design reflects the Dutch heritage of project architect Dirk Bolt and is recognised for its spirit of Homo Ludens, embedding elements of nature and the significance of play as a cultural phenomenon. As stated by Bolt, the building was to be simple and robust, and at the same time to be good to look at when lying on the beach, wondering what things in life and the pavilion were all about. A primary component of the building is its artwork facade, comprising precast concrete panels running the full length of the pavilion's beach frontage. The artwork was designed in collaboration with the artist Ron Sinclair. Intriguingly, the panels were cast in the sand on the beach in front of the pavilion. This singular and powerful gesture grounded the building within its context, while uniting architecture, public art and landscape design in one action. Other contemporary material technologies are notable within the design. The architects have experimented with concrete use in multiple ways. The precast panels float effortlessly between masonry piers while maintaining light and privacy to the internal volumes, while other concrete elements express the visual and structural potential of the material. The original structure was designed in stages, with provisions for an upper level to accommodate tea rooms and kitchen. Despite multiple attempts involving various architects over the years, this latter stage has never been realised. Dirk Bolt immigrated to Tasmania in 1951 following the war. He studied architecture and then town planning under Sidney Blythe, before working in the office of David Hartley Wilson. Following his time in Tasmania, Bolt went on to have a diverse and successful international career as an architect, educator and advocate for sustainable urban futures. Bolt was recognised for his collaborations with artists and furniture designers. He was a founding member of the National Trust in 1960 and recognised as a fellow in 3 built environment professions: architecture, planning and landscape. While the Long Beach Bathing Pavilion was one of Bolt's earlier works, it remains a consummate representation of his values and practice. It exemplifies his understanding of the science of materials, his love of the modular, and his care for people and place. Triennial Prize. Arthur Circus by Circa Morris Nunn Chua Architects. Perry Street Extension by Preston Lane. Coopworth by FMD Architects. Killora Bay by Lara Masili in association with Tanner Architects. Fusilier Cottage by Bence Mulcahy. Goulburn Street Housing by Cumulus. UTAS Melville Street by Nettleton Tribe. Mays Point House by Tanner Architects. View House by Archer. Harriet's House by So Architecture. Pop Top by Light Architecture. Wild House by Room 11 Architects. And Triptych by Room 11 Architects. The James Blackburn Triennial Prize. The Triennial Award recognises the abiding quality of a work of Tasmanian architecture. Harriet's House is exemplary for many reasons. A nearly invisible intervention from the streetscape, the addition of a singular brick volume to the rear of an existing Georgian workers' cottage, negotiates sequences, forms, and history itself. The triumph of this work rests in the relationship that it signifies, almost singularly resolved in a materiality of brick. The subtlety and nuance of this work speaks to a clear-sighted architectural reading. This idea rests on an experiential thread between a room and a garden. A series of deft tectonic moves resolves the garden aspect to 4 other properties, acknowledging and calibrating the Georgian spatial traditions of this particular setting, while also in wider discourse with the architectural heritage of Sir John Soane. Prosaic needs are managed in subtle ways and often key back into the logic of the original fabric. Allegory too surfaces in the way the ceiling resolves the light and how gardens hold small mythologies. More than all this small intervention emerges from the dignified collaboration between a custodian, an architectural partnership, and master craftspeople. All have worked in concert towards the realisation of a humble, exquisite room and flourishing garden. It could not have been better realised. William J. Mitchell Prize. Established in 2012, the William J. Mitchell International Chapter Prize is awarded in recognition of a significant contribution to architecture. It is primarily intended to enhance the profile of Australian architecture internationally and the profile and career of the winner. Mark Burry AO is the founding director of Swinburne University of Technology's Smart Cities Research Institute, where he leads the development of a whole-of-university research approach to ensure our future cities anticipate and meet the needs of all citizens. A practicing architect, Mark has published internationally, focusing on two main themes: putting theory into practice with regard to procuring challenging architecture, and the life, work and theories of the architect Antonio Gaudí. As the senior architect to the Sagrada Familia Basilica Foundation since 1979, he has pioneered collaboration with his colleagues and untangling the mysteries of Gaudí's compositional strategies for his greatest work, based on site in Barcelona. Mark holds various senior positions at academic institutions in Europe, New Zealand and Australia, and is a member of the advisory board of Gehry Technologies in Los Angeles. He was also a member of the Australian Research Council College of Experts 2003 to 2007 and the Australian Institute of Architects National Education Committee 2001 to 2005, and is presently the chair of the Research Leaders Group of the Australasian CRC for Interaction Design. In 2001, Mark founded the Spatial Information Architectural Laboratory, SIAL, at RMIT University, before establishing the Design Research Institute, DRI, in 2008. He held an ARC-founded Federation Fellowship in Complex Architecture and Convergent Design from 2007 to 2012. In 2014, he joined the University of Melbourne as Professor of Urban Futures at the Faculty of Architecture, Building and Planning, where he helped to develop the faculty's capacity to consolidate research in urban futures, drawing together and augmenting expertise in urban visualisation, urban analytics, and urban policy. Mark has been a visiting professor at University of Liverpool, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya, and Victoria University of Wellington. He has collaborated with Gehry Partners LLP, Decoy Paris, Foster & Partners and Arup, and was a member of the Prime Minister's Science, Engineering and Innovation Council in 2005 as part of the working group examining the role of creativity in the innovation economy. Mark's significant global contributions to the architecture profession make him a very worthy recipient of the 2024 William J. Mitchell Prize. The Tasmanian Architecture Medal. The Tasmania Medal is only awarded to projects of exemplary standard, acknowledging architecture that transcends the everyday and elevates our lived experience to a higher plane. The James Street House exhibits these values. Like the song that inspired its brief, this new residence is a delicate and intricate composition of nuanced and contrasting spatial qualities. On entry to its walled and private realm, and then ascending through its 3 levels, a sequence of sensory experiences unfolds. Spaces compress and release, volumes overlap and extend, then dissolve into adjacent courtyards, intimate landscapes, or extended views that anchor the house in its broader civic context. Other spaces revolve around a retained 100-year-old walnut tree, which filters light and records seasonal change. The interior is dark-coloured and textured, a highly crafted and intimately detailed stage set for the life of its owners. Externally, the house is sculpted in carefully curated custom brick, referencing the masonry tradition of the region. It perches quietly and confidently within its hilly residential setting, while the surrounding courtyard gardens form a private oasis. This is a masterclass in contemporary residential design.